Hi, I'm Margaret Lewin and welcome to Margaret Lewin Quilting. Today we are going to be working on block number 8, which is called Fly Away. Here is my stitch pink block. It's all done. I'm going to give you a couple of tips of what it was that I did along the way because I did change a couple of minor things. Let me set the red one aside and let's go through this one and I'll tell you what I did differently and where you do need to watch out just a little bit. So let's go down through my notes and let me explain to you the different cuts that I did make. Cut A, which are these outer blocks in color number 101, which is the white paper, which is the white. I cut these at 5.5, not at 5 3/8. B, which is the dark colors, again, I cut these at 5.5, not at 5 1/8. C, which is all of these beautiful little wings inside of these flying geese, I cut those at 2 1/2. So there's a big difference there. The first time I did them at 2 1/4 and I still didn't have enough. So I cut them at 2 1/2. The next ones are D and E, which are all of these little ones. I did cut those at 2 1/4. I was fine on all of the geese. I had just enough to cut with this. So I would suggest when you sew this inside square, you do a true scant 1/4 inch, just so that you've got some trimming room. So that is all of the things that I did different. I'm going to sew my flying geese the way I always do. I do one side first, so I'm going to take all of these and fold them right over so that I can pick these up in a pile and I can sew every single one of them with one side of the geese, and then I will press them and go back and sew the second side. So once I've done that, I'll come back and show you how I'm going to go about trimming them. So I'll see you in just a few minutes. I have made all of my blocks and I'm going to start squaring them up from the largest down to the smallest. So this, which is our biggest block, needs to square up at 5 inches. And you can see that I do have enough to square it up. Don't have a lot extra, but I don't need a lot extra. So I'm just going to square this one right up to the 5 inches that the directions call for. And it won't take but a minute to do these. Just a real simple square it up. These are something that I think we've all done, or at least most of us have done at one point or another. So I'll get these other ones finished and then I'll come back. So those are squared up. So I'm going to lay those on the board. So those are ready to go. Alright, now that I've done that, let's go on to the next largest. And that happens to be this one, which needs to square up to 3 1/2 inches. So to do that, I'm going to work on this, use this diagonal line as my reference, and it needs to square up to 3 1/2. So 1 3/4 should be right there at the point. So now what I'm going to do is just go up one side and across, and then rotate it around and do it again. There you go. I'm going to square these flying geese up just like I've done every other one. Our finished size of these are 2 inches by 3 1/2. So we're even at the same size that we've been all along. So it's 2 inches tall, 3 1/2 inches wide. So I'm going to start by, think half of 3 1/2 is 1 3/4, so I'm right there. I'm going to line this up so that my diagonal line is on one side of the geese, and I'm just going to trim. Okay. and trim again. So we're, remember, 3.5, and then we want to be at 2 inches. So you can see, here's my 1 3/4, and I can just trim again. Now, that works out pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and do all of the other ones off camera, just because there's no reason to do all of them again. We've done these quite a few times now. And I'll see you back once I get them all trimmed, and I am ready to start putting my block together. Everything has been squared up. How these are going to go together is I'm going to put these 3 and these 3 together, and then I'll attach them to these. Same thing here. These 3 then attach to here, and then this will become one long row. So then what I'll have is 3 long strips, and I will sew those together. One of the things that I did not do with this one, that I will do with this one, is on my geese, I pressed them towards the next block. That I'm going to do, but I am going to press this long seam open. I don't like the way it's laying. I can just too much see all of this in through here. There, you know, there's a bump and I can see it. So I will probably eventually press this one open, but I'm going to leave it like this now so that you can see the difference between the two of them. In the meantime, I'm going to go get this completely sewn together, and then I'll be back. Here are my 2 completed blocks. Here is the Stitch Pink one. Here is my Melanoma one, or my John's quilt, whichever one you care to know it by. That's up to you. So a couple of things when I did them, I just want to go over one last time to make certain that you understand. This block did not need to be increased at all in size. This one worked out. There was just a scant bit to trim up, but that one worked out. These geese, on the other hand, absolutely need to be sized up. It is the white portion that needs to be sized up, not the inside portion. The large squares that were cut on the outside, I did increase those by 1/8. That worked perfectly. So let's go through all of our pieces. A and B were cut at 5 1/2 inches. C, which is all of these little white ones, I cut those at 2 1/2 and then followed the remainder of the directions. On all of these were all cut per the directions at 4 1/4. All right, so that you can see the way it all looks. I've already. One of the things I like to see the most is my 1/4 inch all the way around, because that means when I go to put it into the quilt, I will still be able to maintain my 1/4 inch, which is important. This one is coming out flatter than this one. I have not decided if I'm going to press this open or if I'm going to leave it be. I'm out of mist water in the studio, so I don't want to mess with this until I can get some water. And what that's all about is if I have to change the pressing direction on a quilt block like this one, I would mist it. I've got one of these misters, and I just would spray it, let it sit for just a minute, then I would repress it. All right, otherwise I think this block came out good. I'm happy with that block. I'm actually happy with both of them. So again, not a difficult block, but a time consuming. You know, it does take time to do it, but it doesn't help that I'm doing 2 of them. If I only did 1, I wouldn't think that much about it. So anyhow, this is the conclusion of our block number 8, which will be released on October 8th. So I'm going to go ahead and get started now on block number 9 for tomorrow. So thank you so much for sticking around to the end and watching me put together block 8. Please, if you like this video, do give it a thumbs up. I would love to know what you're thinking about these blocks, how they're coming along, if you're having a hard time with a specific part of it, because maybe I can help you. If you like this video, please do give it a thumbs up. One of the best ways that you could support my channel is by subscribing and by sharing my videos with your friends. So if you know of anybody that's putting together Stitch Pink and may potentially need some help with putting their blocks together, please pass my name along to them. So thank you so much for joining me today, and I'll see you again really soon. Bye, everybody.